And you basically made a name for yourself on special teams.
Right.
Who are some guys on special teams that are coming up that may be able to do the same thing?
That's a good question. I would say two guys that stand out to me right now are Lamont Wade and JP, Jonathan Patrician, in the safety room. Those are two guys that, one, they bought into the idea of special teams, and you can see that they have sort of a hunger to make plays and things like that. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm looking forward to sort of passing the torch to a younger guy to sort of take over with the intensity and hunger that I felt that I played with on special teams.
Will you not play as much special teams this year, or you're not sure about that?
I'm not exactly sure, but I know I would love any opportunity to be out there. That's kind of where I found my home at Penn State. I was very comfortable with special teams and was able to do a lot there.
What were your impressions of it? Go ahead.
My love for special teams? Where did it come from? Honestly, I would say just my desire to be noticed. I never wanted to be on the field and people not know I was on the field. So I always had the mentality that if I was on kickoff or punt coverage or anything like that, that I wanted to make the play and hear my name.
You always had that deal with Koa, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What
Koa
was
and
behind that?
So, we've always prided ourselves with, one, finishing through the end zone, and two, on special teams, we want to play extremely fast and intense. So when kickoffs weren't returned, we were already running fast, so it just basically turned into a race. We started racing, I think it was sophomore year, seeing who could get to the goal line first. And I'm pretty sure I won like everyone except for one. He'll tell you otherwise, but it's things like that not everybody sees, but that's how you can tell sort of the kind of hunger a team has and how bought in they are to the culture and principles that are established for the team.
What's the most underrated part of this defense, Nick, entering the season?
What is the most underrated part?
Yeah.
I would say our youth, or some people would say that it's lack of experience, but we have some guys, a lot of guys stepping into starting roles. But I mean, you look back at last season, just because they weren't starting doesn't mean they weren't playing meaningful snaps. So it's a lot of times the guys who are stepping into those roles are a little overlooked.
When you talk about that, I think another point to make too is that you have three former three-star recruits here in Trace, you, and Amani, and now you've seen back-to-back a group of guys that are coming in. I think look a little bit different than the classes over the last few years. I mean, what have you noticed about the recruiting differences in this program just between the time you came to Penn State and now?
Yeah, I think our coaches do a phenomenal job of finding talent that's matched with good character. I'm not a firm believer in stars because once you come to college, you can. The choice is yours whether or not you want to be successful. It's about how much work you put in and things like that. So, I mean, we have, according to you guys, some 5 stars, 4 stars, all that stuff. But if guys are ready to compete, it doesn't matter what the star is. They're gonna come and compete, make the team better.
Do you honestly ever think you'd be a starting safety? But when you first left high school, when you did a little bit of this, a little bit of that, I mean, you played all over the place. Did you ever see starting safety in your future?
I would say I think Penn State and Boston College were the only schools that actually recruited me for running back. Most schools was DB or athlete, but regardless, I knew I wanted to come to Penn State regardless of what position they wanted me for. It's just the way it worked out. I tell people all the time there's 26 reasons why I moved to safety. So Saquon Barkley came in the room, and it's worked out for me so far.
What was it like when you first saw him? Were you like, man, when did it click to you that it was going to be tough to beat him out?
I would say probably pretty much that season. His first season when he got here, he started, I think it was Buffalo when he jumped over that guy.
Yeah.
I think Coach Smith can attest to this, that when he jumped over that safety at Buffalo, I had already been hearing murmurs of me possibly playing safety, and coaches used to, Coach used to heckle me about moving to safety all the time. Not
Coach Franklin?
Not Coach Franklin.
Okay.
Our defensive coordinator, Shoot.
Okay.
Who used to heckle me and just joking around and stuff. And when Saquon jumped over the Buffalo safety, I literally turned to Coach Smith, who was next to me, and I was like, do you guys still have room in the safety room? I was half joking, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know. I might need to come back and have that conversation. But like I said, I'm completely grateful for the opportunity I had at running back. I had a lot of fun in that room. And being on the offensive side out, and I'm also grateful for the opportunity to play safety at this level.
Did you fight that move? Because there's some guys, there's some guys that are asked to change positions that don't accept it readily. Why were you able to accept it more than other guys are accepting it?
Because it was my decision. I actually, after the Tax Slayer Bowl, one of the first things I did when I got home was talk to my parents about the position move. And then I called Coach Franklin. He's always been a guy you can talk to whenever you want to. So I was sitting in my dorm room. I pulled my cell phone out, called him, and talked to him about it. And he said, if that's something you seriously want to consider, we can look into that. And about a week later, the move was made.